Okay, so I've just woken up. It's my second day in the desert. Very dehydrated. Night sleep was interesting. It weren't the worst in the world. It did get very cold in the early morning hours, but other than that, it wasn't the worst sleep I've ever had. What I did do earlier, before the sun was going to come up, what I did was upturn rocks like these, similar to this method. So I'd upturn these. Basically, the coolness underneath the rock, just been there the day before and all night, that will allow dew to form on here. Now, I've done it to quite a few rocks. I don't feel like it's worked too well, but by leaving this metal can out, and by leaving this can out, what I've done is I managed to get dew forming. It's on a plastic can, but it seems to have worked. What I've done is put that on my lips rather than use my tongue, because I don't want to dry my tongue out on the plastic can. But yeah, it's kind of wet my lips a little bit, kind of makes you feel a bit better. It's not a lot, it's not enough, but it's better than nothing. It's a trick that old Bedouins would used to do when they had to survive out in the desert for any long period of time. If it's on a long journey, they would essentially just flip these rocks in the morning before dawn. They'd flip these rocks before dawn like this, and then the dew would form on here. Yeah, so yeah, I've just tried to collect some dew. I just tried to collect some dew droplets. It's my GoPro, I think. Oh yeah, so I just went to collect some dew droplets from stones. It worked best on my plastic can, which is able to cool to a lower temperature, and it did form on there. Maybe I had the can out at more of a longer, most advantageous time. Maybe the material is different, I don't know. You can also collect dew from plants in the desert, but yeah, like not this part of the desert, I don't think. Just in terms of the fact that there was barely anything on the rocks. Well, there was nothing on the rocks. There's barely anything on my container. So trying to do that in a way that you can with like the desert grass, like this, like realistically, you've got no chance really getting anything worthwhile from that. Okay, so when you're out in the desert, if you're in the desert in the middle of the day and you're at like 40 degrees centigrade or Celsius heat, the average person, if they're walking around, will lose about 900 millilitres of water per hour. This will be done through sweat. Now that is a ridiculous amount. This is why you always stay out of the sun, because you can feel it just sapping your energy. You can feel it burning your skin. You can feel the sand burning your feet on the ground. You do have to watch out for signs of dehydration. I haven't really urinated much. Haven't urinated today yet. Yesterday when I urinated, the colour wasn't really all that good. Which isn't really a good sign. That means I'm sweating out most of my moisture, which is not very good for me. It means I'm not conserving that means I'm not conserving the water I've got inside me enough. Yesterday in the sun, when I was out here in the middle of the day, my God, I felt so exhausted. You know, I felt nauseous, I felt sick, I felt like I was too weak to even hold this camera. Right now, I can hold this camera fine, pretty much. I'm dehydrated, but I can hold it. But yesterday when the heat was out, oh my God, it felt like I was carrying a brick house in my hands. It was that heavy, I just could not hold it. And I could not keep on walking. You know, I felt like I was suffering from muscle cramps as well. Back of my knee was kind of cramping up, which wasn't too good. That's kind of, I think, part of an old injury that I had before I came out here though. Like when you're in a survival situation, you find water, you just drink it the moment you get it, you know, don't ration it, don't think. It's like those drops of liquid on that container. I've got the plastic one. You drink it as soon as you can. You lick it, you wipe it up, because you know it's gonna, first off it's gonna evaporate, second off, don't ration your water. You know, people have been found out in the desert, dead, dying. People, don't ration your water. People who have been found out in the desert, dead from dehydration with full canteens of water. It's just because they rationed it and the dehydration and death kicked in before they could even finish their water. You never know when you get survived, so it's kind of a bit of a balance. You've got to make your own judgment call. Do you drink it all now, or do you all drink it all later? I drank all my water before I started the challenge, because that is what the challenge is, no water. I have been collecting my urine though, but I haven't put in any today. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it. If I drink it, it could be quite putrid. It's going to taste absolutely gross. I might try to use kind of a solar still type method and kind of evaporate the water into a kind of purified form. I can see the sun's really coming up now. Like, the weather's fine now, like the sun's just starting to come up. It's not hot, it's not cold. I can sit out here naked, I'm fine. But my God, once it heats up again, it's so sickly cold. It gets cold at night, it gets really hot during the day. I'm going to have to spend all my time in the shelter. It's going to be absolutely, like, horrible, to be honest. No, I can't afford to stay here for much longer, to be honest. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to see what water I can gather, you know, try and make a solar still. But long term, I do have to leave, I think. Most likely it's going to be today. Oh, I don't feel too good. I got this weird cough as well. I think it's just from sand and dust going into my lungs, and no, it's not nice. What you want to do is avoid eating. Eating means that the digestive system requires water to digest the food. So the less you eat, the better you will be, and the less water you use up. You can survive 3 weeks without water, about 3 days. Oh no, you can survive 3 weeks without food and about 3 days without water, so you should focus on keeping the water in. You've got stores of fat, stores of muscle on your body to burn in a last-ditch effort, so you can always rely on that. If you are able to keep yourself covered up enough, you can actually reduce your sweat loss by about 25%, which is going to, you know, increase your survival time by a far distance. So if you're only sweating 1,000 millimeters, keeping covered up is going to help you survive out here. You can like decrease your sweat loss by about 25%. So if you are sweating a litre per hour, then you're only going to sweat 750, and that 250 millilitres is key. That's a decent sized drink, 250 millilitres. And that's every hour, so keep covered up, keep in the shade. That's what I'm doing. I want it out here just because during the day, because the sun hasn't come up yet properly. It's started to come up, but it's not up properly yet. You got to stay out of the sun in between the hours of like 10 to 5. Hikers get caught out in the middle of the day. They just pass out from heat exhaustion and they end up dying. Like right now, it's the perfect temperature. I love this temperature right now. I could survive it here forever in this temperature. But like it's going to get very hot in a few hours' time. So my lungs feel. My lungs are covered in dust and sand. You know, some hikers have been out lost in the desert, like the Grand Canyon, and they've died within 2 hours in the middle of the day. But some have survived up to like 3 days by hiking, you know, when it's cool and being clever about what they do. From what I've read, the average Bedouin, which is native to like the desert and the Sahara type area, can survive on just about a litre a day and be fine, whilst the average person takes 19. They do this by being clever, staying in the shade during the middle of the day. They wear dark flowing clothing. People think white clothing is the best thing. Dark clothing is actually better, because dark clothing will not reflect your heat back into your body, it will absorb the heat, while white clothing will reflect the heat from your body back into your body. Well, you know, they are accustomed to desert life for thousands of years, so they're probably better suited. Like, water's my only priority. I don't care about food. I've seen one lizard, but it was a bit too fast for me to catch, and it was in the middle of the day yesterday, and I couldn't move. I was too hot, too exhausted, didn't have any energy. Carrying all my bags, it was tough. Like, odds are I don't think I'm gonna find any real water source out in this desert at all. All the rivers kind of here, like, seem to have dried up. You know, there are like a few plants here and there, but they're very dry plants. They're very brittle. There's really not really any real amount of water out here, to be honest. Now, as I said, you know, I don't eat food. Food will only cause the digestive system to pull moisture out of the rest of your body, when in fact you really need the moisture to be in your brain, because you need to be thinking, and you need it in your muscles to be moving. You know, you don't need it in your digestive system. It's just going to be drained. Normally you really need about a gallon of water a day, at least, maybe 4 gallons of water a day in a desert to stay properly hydrated. Sorry. Oh, I'd have blacked out there almost. You know, if I get heat stroke bad out here, that could be the end of it. Like, the middle of the day today is going to be a very tough challenge, because it'll be my second middle of the day out here. The first one was hard enough, the second one's going to be even harder, because I don't have that kind of water store within my body to be able to keep on going. You know, one of the key things about surviving out of the desert is learning the basic between water and kind of movement. Just limit your movement. Limit your movement during the day. Limit it in any way you can. You know, someone who performs hard work at like 43 degrees Celsius is going to be using 19 litres of water a day. But someone who's kind of out there for the same amount of time will not use barely anywhere near the same. My arm's starting to cramp up. It's like, the more you sweat, the more you breathe, the more you talk, the more moisture you lose, so be careful. Exactly, when water's scarce, just don't eat. But do not eat, 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 do not eat. Really, you should be drinking about a litre of water every hour at, you know, temperatures of like 38 degrees. I'm not getting anywhere near that. Oh. I'm kind of tired and just like, it's hot, it's hard out here, it's hard out here, and it's gonna get hot. And that's gonna be difficult. The main thing is our situation. Number one thing is our situation you need is oxygen. But you know, realistically, in any part, in pretty much, in like the number one thing you need in our situation is oxygen. But unless you're drowning in water, that's not going to be an issue. So water is kind of like the main thing. Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah, just like dehydration can be the biggest killers out here. It is always going to be the biggest challenge. You know, you start off with mild dehydration, lack of saliva. Kind of your energy is a bit lower. So you got lack of saliva. So for dehydration, you start off with it being mild. With dehydration, you start off with it being mild. You got like lack of saliva. With dehydration, you start off with it being mild. So you got lack of saliva. You got kind of a decreased frequency of urine. The colour of the urine will be darker, and the amount of urine will be less. When you get moderate dehydration, you get even less urine. You get dry mouth. Your eyes get a bit sunken. Your heart beats a bit rapid. You get more severe dehydration. Oh my god, that's when there's no urine, there's lethargy, there's irritability, you get vomiting, you get diarrhea. And then you've got really that kind of low energy, that passing out, you can't move, you can't drink, 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 you die. So you've got to be careful of all that. Hyperthermia is a big risk out here. Your body is just too hot, and when you know you don't have that moisture inside you to sweat, the sweat will regulate your body temperature. As bad as it is to lose that moisture from your body from sweating, then you kind of do need it, because if you didn't sweat that moisture out and that will cool your body, then essentially you would die from your body heating up too high of a temperature. Because you know the temperature outside is higher than your internal temperature, which raises your body temperature too high, and without the water to cool you down, you're going to have big issues. If you stop sweating, that's when you should be concerned. Because if you stop sweating, then your body can't do anything, really much anything else to kind of reduce your body temperature, because that's the best thing it can do. Like the heat stress can cause a thing called thermal regulation. This allows for the body heat to overheat itself, and the body will kind of lose its ability to control this. It's always a good idea when you're out in the desert to take as many breaks as you can. Kind of allow your body temperature just to drop slightly, ever so slightly, and that kind of, you feel like you've got more energy almost, but it will just slightly drop, and you're gonna have the energy to keep on hiking out throughout the day. Now, one of the good things about being in a desert is that starvation. And one of the good things about being in a desert is that not eating is not going to kill you. Dehydration will always get you first. So like, food shouldn't be your main priority out here. Now, the odds of you dying of starvation is very low. The odds of you dying of dehydration is very high. If you are going to die, obviously, I don't plan to die. I'm not going to die. Like, you know, I'm not an idiot. But yeah. So like, you know, you're more likely to die from a different thing. You know, so dehydration. So before you die of starvation, it sets in and kind of will kill you in about 3 weeks. You're more likely to die of injury. You're more likely to die of dehydration. You're more likely just to, you know, be rescued in that time. So since it's a slow process, starvation, you want to conserve your energy. You want to move very slowly. With the sun coming out behind those clouds, that's not a good sign. It's going to get really, really hot. Yeah, just save your energy for different survival parties. But I will do, you know, some very low energy kind of looking for some food. You only want to eat the minimum amount of food. there's a bare minimum and just not feel hungry. If that makes you feel like you've got a bit more energy inside you, then so be it, but don't eat too much. So it's only, it's been, so I've got a step to something sharp. It's stuck, it's stuck. There's something sharp in there. I don't know if you can see that. These. See, look how easily they stick into. See, it's left. Still in there. So these have been a bane in my life for these past 2 days. You can't see them on the ground very easily because they are very sand coloured, and they just, in every angle at 360 degrees, there's a sharp point in there which keeps digging into my feet. That kind of really annoyed me. Yeah, anyway, what you really want to do is kind of eat enough. Either eat nothing or just eat a little bit, which will keep the hunger pangs away. So like, plants are normally the easiest thing around the world to find, essentially. Plants are low energy, you know. Plants are normally the easiest thing for you to find out in most places in the world. This is because plants, you don't need to hunt them. It's on the ground, they're decent carbs, easy. You don't spend a lot of energy kind of trying to find them. But I think in the desert, I think it's better to look. I stepped in another one. Look at that, 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 look at that. Okay, yeah. Personally, so in a desert, it's best to be on the lookout for more things like insects, lizards, and snakes. Because, like, if you're just trying to find out with plants, then you need kind of expansive knowledge of all the what plants to eat. And as you can see out here, I've only ever seen one plant, and it's that plant right there. And those are dry, and those are inedible. We're stepping. Another one. Another one. You know, so yeah, I think the sun's starting to come out. So whilst there are all kinds of edible creatures in the desert, they're hard to find, you know, because there's less for them to eat on, you know. Desert is a very barren land, so that means there's very few creatures per square kilometre. Let's just say a jungle, which jungle is just teeming with insects all over the place. You know, there's not really any mosquitoes out here. Mosquitoes are a sign of there's a lot of life a lot of the time, and there's absolutely not much life out here. So yeah, in the desert you can find things like, you know, ants, scorpions, grasshopper, centipedes, tarantulas, snakes, lizards. And I've always said, okay, my feet are just like, these rocks absolutely came to walk on. It's just constantly uncomfortable on your feet. But yeah, you should always eat your reptiles and snakes because they can have bacteria in them as they are. My energy levels are starting to go. You know, a way to, you know, look for like lizards or snakes, mostly like lizards in the desert. Snakes are less common. It's to turn over rocks, so like this. They can often be underneath rocks. They often like to bask in the early morning sunlight just to get their body warm for the rest of the day, as they can't regulate their own body temperature as they are reptiles. Same thing that snakes do. Another one of those sharp things in my feet. But yeah, what we want to do is be very careful where you put your hands. You know, when you put them down, kind of move them quick and don't wait around. You know, you're more likely to find plants. Fuck's sake. Like, you're more likely to find plants, well, you're more likely to find insects and creatures to eat lizards in places where there's a lot of plants or vegetation. There's not a lot around here, so I've got really nowhere to look in particular. You know, they're more likely to be, say, near to maybe that plant, but it's just a barren place. It doesn't make that much of a difference. You know, lizards can be found quite out in the open at the time. You can kill them with like a stick or throwing rocks at them, or just catching them very easy. You know, in the early morning hours, they like to hide under flat rocks. So you just pin it, kill it with a rock very easy. A snake is a similar way, but they have to bask out in the sun in the early morning just to warm up their body. But you gotta be very careful they don't bite you. You know, be careful exactly where you put your hands. Don't put them in any crevices. You know, I've seen crevices around here. Avoid putting your hand in there because you never know what's in there. You do see on these survival TV shows, you know, they see a crevice, they find a snake, or they find a lizard, it's done straight away. That's because they put in hours and hours of editing and loads of times that they would actually not find anything. That's just, you know, they don't really often find stuff in kind of holes, because a hole might be there, but most holes aren't really inhabited. They're holes which have been used in the past and are no longer being used now. You know, there's so many dangerous things out in the desert. You know, insects are out there that can kill you. They can carry diseases. Flies carry diseases from feces to feces. So you really want to be careful exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're handling. You know, you've got to check. You know, you don't want to be stepping over a rock like this and see a snake on the other side. So always go around the rock and be careful, because that's where they like to hide in, kind of that camouflage and kind of hide in the shade. Another shot. It's quite a few that time. So see that the fact I'm walking around barefoot means our feet are at risk of being bitten by snakes. They can be at risk I've been just, you know, standing on rocks, standing on anything that could be sharp. Like, you really want to find recent vegetation. I think later today, I think I'm probably gonna have to leave this area. So I don't think I can stay here for much longer. You know, there's not really any source of food or anything. Yeah, if you do find food, don't cook it. It just dehydrates the food. It's going to mean it's going to require moisture on your body to digest it, rather than moisture within that creature, lizard, bug, anything. You know, the more barren the desert, the less things you're going to find out there to eat. So I'm finding that to be very true. Always be careful, like if there's any place that creates shade, like your shelter, they can create danger for you. I think I'm done for now. Just been joining me right now. Yes, I was just trying to see if I could find anything behind this kind of layers of rock. It's kind of like this, kind of like breaking it down. Guess what I've just found? Some kind of nest. It's some kind of nest slash webbing for some kind of spider. Be a large one. I can see its legs. Its legs are white. Maybe just about to see it, I don't know. It's right there in the middle of the screen. It's got a big body. What I need to do is make a decisive blow, kill it straight away. If I don't kill it straight away, odds are it's going to get away, because I don't have the energy to be able to run fast enough to catch it. It might go into another crevice. So I'm going to get a large rounded rock. I can see it in there, I can see it in there. I'm just gonna no idea. Okay, you can see, look at that juice. It's definitely made an impact. I think it's still in there. Well, look for a stick. Unfortunately, there's no really good sized sticks around here. I want to leave the area so I don't lose it. So we go here. This will be okay. It's a weak stick. It's the only thing I've got. There you go. You see that? Got it. Ah, oh, how juicy it looks. It's still slightly alive. Flat rock, put it on. There you go. There's a bit of food for me. It's a pretty big one. That's fine. Look at the legs. Legs. So now it's time to eat the twice. I can't identify what kind of spider or tarantula it may be. No idea. Please let me know if you do know. This will be way too close. Because I don't know what this spider or tarantula may be. Could be poisonous, I'm not sure. Let me know if you do know what type it is. I'm going to eat the legs and the abdomen. I'm going to leave the head. Just cut it open with a sharp. Look how sharp that is. Down for 2 seconds. I don't really want to waste any part of this creature. Yeah. The sun's starting to beat down on my back. So yeah, it's going to start off with the legs. It tastes crunchy, not too bad. You can see ants are trying to get at the spider now as they sense the food. They'd never be able to get a spider if it weren't dead. Not too bad. Now the abdomen's the hard part. Like, I'm going to cut the head off. Get 2 more seconds to do it in. Look how juicy this abdomen looks. Well, one for tea. It's on this stone. I'll obviously not eat the stone. Let's turn this camera there so I can see it better. Here goes nothing. The juices will help hydrate me as well. It's going to be absolutely putrid and pussy. And puss-like, I should say. Just give it a smell. I'm not looking forward to it. Oh. There's a rock in it. I want to swallow it. Ooh. Oh. Ah, look at that. Ah, yes. Oh. Oh God. Oh, that's gross. Oh. Oh. Okay, and there's just the head left. I do have to take out, there's a small rock inside there, which I have to take out, but my God. Oh, there we go, there's... That will keep that sustenance going. Just eat little and often, and that was quite a juicy spider's abdomen, so that will help keep me going. It'll help stave up those hunger pangs, and yeah, I feel like that's a positive for me. A nice juicy, I don't know, desert spider, desert spider most likely. What we're going to do now, we're going to utilise the sun's energy, the heat, to get a solar still. Now I don't have any waterproof kind of plastic like bin bags to kind of make one like that. So what I'm going to be doing is making a solar still by using the greenhouse effect, using bottles. So here's a bottle I saw earlier. It's just so many salt things in the ground. Nah, it hasn't really got, it's quite old. It has got a small, hasn't really got any small holes in it, so it should be fine. What we're going to do, is create a solar still using this. And obviously you ask, where do you get the liquid from to make a solar still? Well, I've been urinating inside my black canister since I came out here yesterday. First stuff I do. Okay, so here we go. It's got my urine in. Oh! Wow. It's absolutely putrid. Now, I'm able to put that in. Balance that together like so. Now all I need to do is now seal this up with as tight a seal as possible. Probably can't use the lid. I'm going to seal this up using some of the parachute material, and then any droplets will go into here. My problem is that it's quite an overcast day out in the desert today, which means that it may not evaporate this enough. The advantage here that this is black. It's going to absorb heat, absorb the light, and this will heat up and make this evaporate, and evaporation will go through this tube. I'm going to use some parachute and cover this part up, and that'll give it some shade, and that'll give some good airflow around here, so it'll keep it nice and cool, so that will turn into liquid at the bottom. But I do need to cut some parachute up. I need to get a sharp rock, and yeah, I'll be able to do that. Also, just cool it down by using dirt. Will help keep the sun off it. What I do is smash a rock down on another rock until I get a sharp enough piece. What I want to do is smash this rock over on that hard one in the ground. It's more brittle. This one's to smash into a sharp piece, hopefully. I need to do it harder. Missed it. Oh, nice. Look how short this is. I'll be able to use that and cut this parachute up. Get a tail inside it. It cuts a bit easier. I'm going to put it parachute pieces underneath a piece of rock to keep it from blowing away. I think I need a bigger piece as well. Nylon is partially waterproof, not fully waterproof, so it will help keep the moisture in there, so it's only got a few layers. So I'm going to use this, and this will cover that in shade, put a few rocks down, keep it in place. There we go. And then pour that in, it's like a nice seal. And it's now sealed in. Now, the only way for any, so now that's sealed in. That the only way for water to escape is through that tube, so it will evaporate and then it will condense in the new bottle, which will be a lot cooler because it's kept in the shade, as you can see down there. Now, my next move, so I've got to start thinking about got to start thinking about getting out of here. So there's two ways of us I was thinking about getting out of here. There's two ways to think about rescue. There's two ways to think about rescue or getting out of a place. You can either passively do it with signalling, or you can actively do it by making a move. Now, my water supplies within my body are draining, so really I should make a move tonight. What I'm going to do in the meantime is create some passive rescue techniques, make an SOS sign, and make a little fire as well. So yeah, it's really dehydrated. It's really tough out here. Like, my energy sapped. Like every day is just getting harder and harder. The one thing which has saved I reckon it saved my life potentially, is that. You see that? I'll show you again. That. You see it? One last time. That. The clouds. Those clouds have actually saved me. The overcast day has stopped those clouds have absolutely saved me. The overcast day has stopped the sun from shining and burning me, and increased my body temperature. It's not as hot as it should be, as it always could be. That's my saving grace. It's not as hot as it should be, as it always could be.
I think I'd be on the floor. I'd be on the floor completely. I'm on the floor right now, but I'll be on the floor.
I'd be on the floor completely. I'm on the floor right now, but I'll be on the floor. Full on.
Now you do have to be careful. There's no snakes or lizards hiding underneath, so you've got to keep an eye out each time you tear it. Make sure there's no scorpions or anything else hiding. as you can see, it's really hot outside now. The sun is shining bright. But now it's pretty much time. I need to keep my energy and keep my moisture, so I've got to stay underneath here. This will keep me many degrees cooler than being out in the direct sunlight. What I will do though, oh my knees, oh my god, it hurts. Just move these rocks, take out all the big ones. Literally just, it says like a shifting method. The big ones stay in your hand whilst the small ones fall through the gaps of your fingers. There we go, see. Let's put a bit of parachute down as well to make it a bit more comfortable. So that ISO is good. I think I'm gonna have to climb that at some point. There's my solar still. Oh, I've had some rocks fall down on me there. Still working away. There's my parachute shelter. It works better in the night. During the day, it's not as effective as this kind of little cavern. So, no, I do have to be careful being in this little cavern. I have to check that there's no kind of because this is where I found that kind of juicy desert spider. You have to look if there's not any kind of lizards or snakes hiding in here. Because if I like this spot, then for sure as hell, lizards and snakes will like this spot as well. I'm not the only one who's gonna like it here. This is essentially, I would say, I would say this location is pretty much, can't really take, my lips are so dry. Oh. I'm literally down out here. It is so bad. It wasn't too bad this morning when I had cloud cover, but without cloud cover, this place is absolutely tough. I plan to leave tonight, leave this kind of spot, hopefully be out and get back to people by tomorrow. I know somewhere around that way there's an old river. It's probably dried up, but rivers generally locate near to people. You do have to be careful putting your hands in here, because you know a snake, you could very much, snakes like to stay away from humans, because we are predators at the end of the day. But you have to be careful when you put your hands around here, because if you alarm a snake, then it's going to react very quickly in self-defense.
Like, you've not got to be careful about the places where you choose to scope out. I've chosen this place. I think it's a good place. I've been next to it last night. Felt safe enough to sleep, so it's good enough for now. You know, the last thing I can afford is to be bitten by a poisonous snake. It's hard enough having these kind of heat issues, but you know, being bitten by a snake would make it 10 times worse. You know, so you've got to be careful where you lay down. You know, you want to be in shade, but you want to be in safety at the same time. So you got to kind of use your mind and make a choice. Like, I don't sit on the ground directly for 2 reasons. Firstly, the sunlight's been on the ground, it's heat up the ground. Second reason is that it's very uncomfortable. When you're naked, you've got loads of little rocks kind of digging into you. It's not too nice. You know, a lot of the time, you know, scorpions or anything like snakes or lizards hide underneath the ground. My lips are so dry, even when I lick them, they don't get any dry. I mean, my lips are so dry, even when I lick them, like, they don't really get any more wetter, or more wet, as they say. So my lips are so dry, even when I lick them, they don't even get more wet, to be honest. They just get a bit gloopy almost. You know, the golden rule of the desert is to look where you touch. You know, look before you touch. Actually, you don't, you know, find yourself stung by a scorpion which is camouflaged or hidden underneath the sand or underneath a rock, or a snake or anything like that. I feel like as I talk, by the end of the sentence, my mouth just feels so dry. Everything just sticks together. Hard to talk. You know, it literally feels like my brain is swelling up at the moment. Feels like, imagine trying to squeeze a size 10 foot into a size 4 shoe. Like, oh, it doesn't work. It does not work. Lucky, because I'm in a part of the desert, well, luckily and unluckily, like, it's been hard to find any food, or I haven't found any water, but because I'm in quite a dry and quite a part of the desert where there's just no vegetation, it's meant that I haven't had to come across a snake, which was, I could try and kill it, but, you know, as much as I could try to kill a snake could try to kill me in the middle of the night, or might just be around the corner and just, you know, quickly, in self-defense, bite me in the leg or somewhere like that. So one thing I want to do during the day, I think it's around like midday, it's got to be about 1 or 2 o'clock, is, you know, staying in shelter. This is as cool as you're going to get in any part of the desert right now. This has been in the shade all day long, so it's not really hot to the touch. It might not be comfortable, but at least I'm in the shade. The sun is right overhead and I've still got shade. I should be thankful for that. I should be thankful for the clouds which covered me this morning. Since I do plan to be staying in this one spot for quite a while now, because it does have shade, and I'm, you know, see, I can't even talk. Like, it's really hard out here. I don't think it's hard to kind of comprehend how difficult it is out here. Yeah, so since I'm in the shade, I think I'm going to, because since I'm going to be stay put in here in the shade, I think I'm going to make an SOS sign. If anyone sees it, anybody will be able to see it. I'm kind of doing this more for an example. But yeah. You never know. The biggest danger in the desert is exposure, the heat during the day and the cold during the night. So, you know, I'm staying in the shade, staying cool. It's going to take a lot less moisture. I don't feel like I'm burning up. I'm avoiding getting sunburn, which is good. because sunburn will make your skin dehydrate, and it will make you even hotter than you were before. So this is a good sign. The best defense against the sun is simply, it's not about covering yourself in ash or mud or anything like that, or clothes. It's really about good shelter. Stay in shelter, stay out of the sun, and that's your best defense against the sun. It's the only real, truly effective defense against the sun. All the other defenses just minimize it. This kind of actually gives you a solid defense. You know, whilst I'm still getting more dehydrated, my lips getting more dry. And I do wet my lips by using the urine, because the salt content of urine, it probably makes it a bit worse, but it kind of makes it better for the short term. And I do have plenty of urine left in that bottle to use up. Now the sun rays are so dehydrating, you know, the wind is a killer as well. Now I'm using this time in this kind of shade to kind of assess my situation. I've got a bit of a plan going now. When you're in the shade, you know, you can make a better kind of formation of ideas, because it kind of reduces your stress. You're not in the heat, you're not getting heat stress. You're able to kind of conduct your thoughts without thinking desperately about water so much. So, you know, my plan, I think, is to stay here until the sun goes down. I'm going to make my way up that little mountain. Like, it's a tiny mountain, it's more like that rock hill, pretty much. Rock hill, yeah. So I'm going to make myself at that mountain. Well, it's more of a rock hill, or like sand dune type thing. It's like a rock formation. Like a rock formation, yeah. So it's more like a rock formation rather than I'm making myself at the little mountain. I call it the little mountain. It's probably not that high. It's easily hikeable. It'd be hard to do in the sun and the heat, so I'm going to stay here until that time comes. Whilst I am here, I will prepare myself for the hike I'm going to have to make. I'm going to make myself some clothes, something for my feet, something for my hair to keep the sun off it. So something to keep me warm at night. Yeah. You should always avoid trying to lick your lips, you know, and I do feel guilty of it. I lick my lips because, you know, your lips are kind of the most outwardly visible sign of dehydration, and it's like your skin gets dry, but you don't really notice it. Your body inside is getting dry, but your skin gets dry, but it's not that bad. Your body's getting dry inside. You know, you're about 70% water. You probably go down a few percent. You go down any more than a few percent, you probably end up dying. But the lips are like an outward kind of organ in a sense, and they're quite fleshy and quite moist normally. So when they're dry, it's really quite noticeable. You know, shelter is the most important thing, you know, shelter from the exposure of the sun. You know, this shelter's really been quite handy, I think, having on this rock. It's very cooling, I've got to be careful if it does kind of pour down. I don't know, it probably won't, it's the desert. You can get a flash flood in this area quite easily, because the desert floor is quite hard, it's quite tough and almost impermeable at some point, so it's not going to soak up the rain. It's almost like concrete, to be honest. God, I do feel like I am suffering from heat exhaustion, to be honest. It's not so bad now I'm in the shade, but whenever I'm out in the sun, it just absolutely kills me. I don't know, if you have to be kind of aware and take aware of these things, you know. I don't really have much of a medikit. I don't really have any medikit at all, to be honest. So we have to kind of see what we can do. You know, what you want to do to avoid this is kind of work during the evenings and not during the day. During the day is the worst time to be moving, because you're going to be feeling the heat so much worse than at any other point. So the first thing you kind of get is like heat cramps. This is because due to the lack of salt. So first thing you do is get heat cramps. This is due to the lack of salt available in your body as you kind of start to lower those levels. You lose the salt through excessive sweating, so your body starts to cramp up. Is that sense? You get muscle cramps in your legs, your arms, anywhere you can kind of imagine. To be honest, most of your legs and arms, about your abdomen as well. In this case, you know, you should always just, you know, get out of the shade and just relax at that point. I feel like I've had more heat exhaustion than the cramps. The cramps haven't really kicked in. But I just find it, the moment I find it hard to walk, I kind of stop walking and get shade. So that's maybe how I'm avoiding heat cramps, to be honest. So I feel like when I've been drinking some of the urine, so that kind of helps with the heat cramps, I think, because you kind of do need some essential salts in your body. So whilst, you know, salt can dehydrate, you do kind of need it, and I've lost a lot of salt through sweating. You know, heat exhaustion is I think I've lost a large amount. You know, I feel dizzy in the sun. I've been sweating a lot. I've been feeling a bit nauseous when I get in the sun. When I'm in the shade, I feel 10 times better though. There's not a lot I can do. You know, you just have to wait it out. I intend to make my way out starting tonight. I should be out by tomorrow, which is the plan. From knowledge of the local area, I think that's the best way to go, and I'll be doing it later today once the sun goes down. But if I was to get into a heat stroke situation, that's when it all goes wrong, because heat stroke is hard to kind of get out of it unless you've got a good source of water. At heat stroke level, even in being in the shade, it won't help you. It doesn't matter how fit you are, how healthy you are. You know, you're more likely to get it if you're old, but you know, you can be 25 and still get hit by them quite hard. You know, a heat stroke is literally a complete failure of all your body's methods of trying to keep cool. Like, you know, you're a heat stroke and you start making bad decisions. I don't think I've started making bad decisions yet. I'm not too irritable, so I think I haven't got heat stroke. I've had heat stroke before. I was cycling through the Sahara desert, and I started to kept cycling, kept pushing myself and making bad decisions. But this time I'm in the shade, I've got my head screwed on right. You know, I know what I need to do to get out of here. So it's all about a waiting. I know what I need to do to get out of here, so it's all about a waiting game, to be honest. You know, if you get heat stroke, this is the point where your body temperature is rising and your body temperature, and heat stroke is when your body temperature is rising and your body can't do anything to slow it or cool it down. That's when you're not sweating. Luckily, I still feel a bit of sweat on me, which is kind of good, kind of bad, because I'm losing moisture, but at least it means that I'm keeping cool. It's when you stop sweating is when kind of you're in trouble, you know. You get worse, if you get beyond that, your legs start twitching, you know, you pretty much pass out, you can't talk, you can't breathe.
The hottest part of the day is now gone. Luckily, we've got some more cloud cover. Look, I'll be honest with you, the survival out here has been aided so much by the cloud cover. If the sun was out right now, I'd be burning up. It's really warm, don't get me wrong, because the sun goes up like in and out of the clouds, but I would be burning up essentially. Got myself some materials all put down. Yeah, I mean, tear it up. This, I'm gonna make a poncho out of that, and this I'm gonna make a rescue sign. Now I'll show you what it is once I've made it. I've already unfortunately cut my hand. I tear through this all. But yeah, let's make the rest of this, because I need to be hiking out tonight. Ah, oh, God, it's still on a rock. It always bloody hurts. shop. Look at this open, let's almost finished. Through. Takes a while for these things. I have to time it around. Ah, there we go. Everything is so much harder without a knife. Ah, that's how my foot hurts. Did a bit. Just get this all more in a correct place first. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to put this parachute into the shape of a V. A V is an international sign, an internationally understood sign of rescue. There for now. There. Look at that. Oh. Nothing but these dunes in the way, but as you can see, that V side is very noticeable. If anybody comes, that V side is very noticeable. If anybody comes in this area from any of these peaks, they will see that V distinctive from the brown beige sand and dust, and they will know that that's a place where somebody is looking for rescue. One thing I will very quickly do is that I'm going to put some stones and rocks on this V shape. The way I see it, the more defined I can keep the V, the more distinctive it will be, and more deliberately. The way I see it, the more defined the V will be, the more deliberate it will look, because the wind may blow it away all over the place. Because it is a parachute, it's quite lightweight. Together it's quite heavy, but it's quite lightweight. So, just gonna. There we go. So that's going to stay in place much better than if I not put any rocks on it to weigh it down. Now, it's time to make me some clothes. Ready for this hike and way out. There's so many sharp things on the floor. It's unreal. It's unreal. So one of the clothes I'm making will be some shoes. Well, not shoes exactly, but you know, some socks really. Just something to protect my feet both from the heat of the ground as well as protect my feet from the sharp objects. Just any kind of thin layer will help. There you go. Yeah, I found this rag earlier. I wasn't sure what to use it for. I'm not really going to use it for anything, but I did pick it up, you know. So here, got myself some material, nylon, and some laces, essentially, which are the strings from the parachute. Is it still recording good? Yeah, perfect. Just got some pen marks on my leg here, so I put your pen there instead. My feet. Okay, so here we go. First off, this will be perfect shape. It's like a bandana. There we go. Roll it over a few times. That's going to be able to do a nice loose fit. That's going to keep the sun off my head. Now with this, a bit of that, I can reduce the glare, but what I'm going to have to do is make some eye holes. So I'm going to have to look where my eyes are. I need a sharper rock. Much sharper rock than this. A bit also, well, I did a hose, I was a bit with a find a sharper rock, but yeah. You can also put this over your mouth for use in a sandstorm, and it also keeps your moisture inside your mouth while you're not going to be breathing out and letting all evaporate. So there we go, 2 pieces there done. Now to make the shoes, which is the hard part, because it's kind of more improvised. Okay, so There we go. A little shoe. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I need to protect my feet from, look at those feet, they've been worn down. Look how you got my skin colour there, and it's all just white from rocks and just minerals. I think you can put another layer on. Got plenty of material. The more layers the better. Still recording, aren't you? Double tie that. I can use these some sort of laces to help keep it all together. Almost like the Roman sandals of times of old. Don't want to put them too tight, we want them to be tight enough to stick together, not so tight that they let themselves go. One at the back. Back to the front. There. Put it between that knot. So the more different places where you put knots, the more secure it's going to be. So that when the train does actually wear it down the base and kind of cuts the strings, at least they have different knots, so it won't make as much of a difference. You go, let's finish them off with a nice little bow. There we go. Isn't that little cute little shoe? this off in the box. Let's switch off Tatianka. Different way. There it is, little bow. Let's tie the loose string so you don't fall down. You want to tie up all the loose string so you don't fall down. But these all need to be worn once, you're not going to be taking it on off anyway. Oh my god, that feels good. Wow. Wow. That is making a world of difference. I don't feel just like tiny pieces of rock jabbing into it, and I don't feel thorns sticking into my feet. It's absolutely lovely. It's going to make my hike 2 times easier. Especially when it's dark, I won't be able to see where to go. I'll have my infrared vision, but I won't be able to see where to go ultimately. Nice. Look at that. Second point, I need a sharp rock. Should do. Harder. Oh, there we go. Look at that. This isn't actually from that tent. I think I did this earlier. As you can see, it matches the same type. This earlier when I was making my one earlier. So this one is very sharp, and I'm a big fan. Look at it, just matched. There you go, see. Pretty handy, didn't really need to smash that right there. Okay. Oh, okay. Whilst my feet aren't in pain, I just sat down on my bare butt and it's quite uncomfortable still. Okay, so here we go. Poncho. So around about the middle. Got a big old head. Yeah, make it a bit bigger. There we go.
poncho as well. It's a bit long, so I'm going to have to make it a bit shorter. But, done. Obviously I'm going to have to take off now because it's not going to be useful until later on in the night. But yeah, it's going to make some few adjustments, but that's going to keep me warm in the night because it's nylon, it's not really breathable. So in the night it's going to be lightweight, it's going to keep me warm. The winds are picking up. That could be a sign of a flash flood coming. Now when the winds are picking up, the skies are as grey as this in the Sahara desert. That well could mean a storm's coming. As much as I would relish a storm, I am naked and I will get cold very easily. I hope it doesn't come. Oh God, that's my way down. If I can get down there, I can find people. That's my way down. The way down. Buildings there, and that means people. People there, that means safety. I'm in a bit of a predicament at the moment. My solar still hasn't been too successful. There's only a few droplets in there. I guess because it's been quite an overcast day. It's now the evening, and I plan to. It's now the evening, and I plan to essentially hike out tonight. You know, it's getting nice and cool. It's almost ready to hike, but I want to wait till it's actual dark, and that hiking will, you know, be made a lot easier by the low heats. Because it helps keep me warm during the night if I keep on moving. So it's kind of win-win. Yeah. As you can see, there's literally only a few droplets in there. It's literally just a waste of time. Yeah, so you know, you can't have every technique you do be effective. I've avoided drinking my urine so far. But it might be time to. I use this to wet my lips so far, but now I'm gonna have to drink it. You know, it's not a great survival tactic, but in a short-term situation you need it, and I'm losing energy. That's absolutely gross. But there's a thing I knew that was going to be bad.
It's worse than I thought. It was worse than I thought it was going to be. So take into account, it has drizzled. It has drizzled a bit these past 2 days. But it's not enough. It just falls to the floor, evaporates straight away. It just doesn't form into any kind of thing you can lick. Even on the parachute, it goes into it, and you can't even lick it off. You're just wasting more moisture licking it off. I've been thinking about this idea for the past few hours, thinking this is my last kind of chance. Yeah. I want to try doing an enema with this urine. It's not nice enough to drink, so I'm going to try an enema, and essentially my organs inside will essentially absorb the liquid and that'll hydrate me, and it'll avoid me having that horrible taste. I've seen it done before on TV a few times, enemas, and I know that urine therapy enemas exist. I remember seeing it online at one point, people using urine therapy. They have sometimes drink it, and they've also used it in an enema. They've also used coffee enemas, I guess, to get the caffeine into your system fast, and urine enemas. Okay, so I'm going to give it a go. What I want to do is lie on my left hand side. That's the best way to do it, to avoid losing any nutrients from your bowels. But essentially my bowels will be absorbing all this. This is what happens. I'm so desperate for hydration, and I need this for the walk. You don't realise how. Oh, this is, come on. You don't realise, even when it's overcast now, I haven't had a proper drink in the Sahara heat, and I know this could work. It might not work. It could work, but we're going to give it a go. So put this inside, not too deep. Just when I tip, I'm going to tip it upside down. And tip it upside down will cause the liquid to flow through. I'm going to try to tie this around to make a kind of plug to stop water from coming out the sides. So I'm going to plug it in, wrap this around. So this, force it in, make this tight. Okay, as tight as still as I'm going to get. It's too deep. There we go. Oh my god, that looks absolutely gross. Okay, I'm going to lie on my left hand side. Oh. 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 Oh God. It's not going in. Oh. That's in. Oh my God. That's in. Oh my God. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh. Ready, but not big. Oh. Oh. Almost like. Oh. 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 It's going down slowly. Oh. Oh. There we go. Oh. 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 Oh my God. Oh. It is going down. Oh my God. Oh. 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 Let's sit for a bit. Oh. 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 That is it. Now it's just a waiting game. As it absorbs itself in. Even speed it up a bit. Oh. 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 I feel so much better after anyway. Like, I don't feel like I'm fighting fit, but I feel like I've got some moisture inside me. I'm just at the moment avoiding bending down, as that might force the release of those fluids out of my kind of rectum, because essentially I want to keep it in there as long as I can, and as my kind of my bowels, my rectum, whatever, is going to just essentially absorb it all up, and it's going to kind of be used throughout my body. You know, I know there's obviously salt in urine, but I've been sweating a lot, and sweating gets rid of a lot of salt, so I've been missing a lot of essential salts. Now my plan. Now I've scouted up there, up the top of that mountain. My plan is to head yonder and go out from there. I'm going to just keep standing whilst I can feel the licks inside me, to be honest. It's a bit weird. Just about to take some photos, just general photos, you know, different views, and I just found this on me. I was going to eat that, but oh well. Look at that. Look how beautiful this is. It's beautiful. As much as you're out here surviving, it's easy to forget how beautiful Africa is. Look at that. Like light shining down from the heavens. It's absolutely beautiful. I've got a long trek ahead of me tonight. My bags are almost packed. I'm getting ready. I'm going to make a signal fire first, I think. But yeah, my bags are almost packed. I've got an all night long hike out ahead of me, and hopefully I'll be out of this desert in about, you know, by tomorrow at some point, by day 3. 3 days in the desert completed. Again, hasn't been easy. It's been very hard. The dehydration is the worst part, but I've managed it, and I've learned a lot. I've learned about the unpredictabilities of the weather. It's drizzled a few times, but not enough to collect any water. It only kind of dehydrates you more if you try to lick the water, because you're kind of using your tongue. You know, my feet are absolutely caning. I'm kind of stepping on the little sharp pieces all the time. But at the moment I feel serene. I think the sunsets are always my favourite part of the day. As long as the weather's, as long as it's not raining, it's not too cold, nothing can beat a sunset, you know. No one is seeing this sunset from this angle. I'm the only one in the world at the moment who's seeing this sunset from this angle, and it's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's breathtaking. Like, it was as painful as this trip has been. And sometimes sometimes when I'm struggling and it hurts, you know, I forget why I'm doing this. I forget why I put myself through all this pain. And that sunset is worth every ache and ah. I can see the moon in the background there. By the way, this light is an infrared light. It's not a light which I can see anything with. It's purely infrared. So this light isn't a light, it's just purely infrared. Yeah, I'm out here in the desert at night. It's pretty intimidating a place. But what I've kind of done, whilst I've been out here the whole time, I've avoided making a fire during the day. This is because if you make a fire during the day, all you're going to do is end up heating up the area where you are. You're going to get hot. You're going to get dehydrated faster, you're going to lose moisture. So, making a fire at night, and resting for a fire at night, it's not just for the warmth, because I'm not really too focused about that. It's not too cold at the moment, but the focus right now is for signalling. Now what I've done is come up a hill, so I've got the best vantage point possible around. I'm going to set the fire, and then that light from that fire will be able to be seen by so many different people. So I'm going to set the fire, and that light will be seen for miles and miles away. So if there was anyone in the area, we could hopefully try to attract them to this location. We couldn't do this during the day
because a fire doesn't create enough light to kind of be noticeable in that distance, and I wouldn't be able to create enough black smoke enough to attack people my way. So yeah, I'm just going to make a signal. I'll put the camera down, and what I am going to do, I'm going to use the battery. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the battery out of the shotgun microphone. I'm going to use that against some steel wool, and that's going to ignite it essentially, and it's going to help me create like a noticeable flame. I'm going to use this spinning technique first. See, I'll take the audio out. As you can see, this fire will be able to be seen from miles and miles away. Look at it, it's starting to burn real nice. So stay away, it is nylon so it doesn't burn too well in terms of fumes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get this. I'm going to tie some of the string that I saved. I've got this steel wool. I'm going to tie this string I scavenged from the parachute. Just tie it around. And I've got the battery for my shotgun microphone. Let's see.
Also use this now. Now that will attract anyone's attention if they see it in any distance. It's quite an irregular way to create light, but it seems to have worked. Now what I will do as well is this. I'm going to use this to light up the parachute. To me, the parachute's dead weight. Should be a dry night. I'm going to be hiking the whole night, so using this parachute is pointless. I made shoes, bandana, mouth guard, and a poncho from the parachute, and this is all the remainder that's left. It's dead weight. I should burn it. It's going to create a fire, which you can see in the distance. Nylon does kind of set alight fast and burn quickly. It's not a slow burner. So let's have a look. Gonna blow on it to give it more oxygen. Stop the smoke up. It's a good sign. As you can see, this fire will be able to be seen from miles and miles away. Look at it, it's starting to burn real nice. Just stay away, it is nylon so it doesn't burn too well in terms of fumes. Just moving further and further away. You can still see it. You can see that fire going. See. It burns very well. It's rare to be seen for literally miles in any direction. At this point it's brighter than the moon, so yeah, it's gonna let it burn. Whoa. This is a thing of beauty, fire. Fire is man dominating this environment, and it does make you feel a bit dominant, to be honest. It's going to go out in probably a few minutes. It's only going to be a short signal fire, as it is nylon. Nylon burns very quickly. Now, if I wanted to make a more long-term fire, I could have used a lot of kind of shrubbery, like twigs. They wouldn't last it forever. There's no logs out here. It's kind of the desert. There's nothing big, just quite short places, kind of short. There's all it is out here are like short, very short trees. Now, the only thing out here are very short, tiny little shrubberies. That's it. But yeah, this is going to be a nice quick fire. Get rid of my dead weight. It's going to put a signal out there, so if anyone did want to rescue me, they could very easily do that. For the time being, this fire will also keep any snakes away from me, if there are any snakes or lizards. You know, they're not a fan of fire. They don't like crossing into ash. Don't know why. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe it's also down to the fact that fire generally means humans, and this is like a wildfire, like a natural fire. Fire generally means humans. Fire really is beautiful. Kind of the glow has a very old time fashioned feeling to it. Look at it. Wow, that's beautiful. Zoom in. Look at that. It's art. That is art. Zooming into it, it's beautiful. Look at that. Essentially like a picture. What we'll do, this is not a weird thing, I'm just going to take pictures. I'm going to use screen grabs, this is 4K. Whilst the lighting's just nice. What's that picture? You also don't realise how much better you feel in the night when it's cooler versus the sun when it's shining down. The sun is way too hot. The days are way too hot. But the nights aren't too bad. Especially when you've got a fire next to you. You know, I feel like I've got so much more energy within inside me at night. That's why it's the best time to hike. You know? Whilst my body has the same or less, or it's got less amount of calories in it, potential to burn. Well, I feel like I'm better now. Like, the night times where it's at, the heat will exhaust you. But it's fixable, and it's fixed by night time. It is absolutely beautiful to look at. This may well be my highlight of the trip. That and the sunset earlier. Just got a few more minutes left in it, I reckon. Another 5 or so. The only problem with rescue in the Sahara Desert using light or fire at night is that there ain't nobody around. So I did this fire on a hilltop. This means there's be greater visibility all the way around. Because the higher you do the fire, the signal, the more people that can see it. If you did your fire in a valley, then nobody's going to see it unless they're at the edge at the top. One of the positives about this fire as well are that it keeps the mosquitoes away. I've been feeling myself being bitten by flies and mosquitoes around here a bit earlier in the evening. This fire will keep them away for some time. You know, they're not a fan of ash or fire. Fire's about to go out soon. Yeah. The idea is that I made this fire on the top of a hilltop. This means that it have greater visibility in the distance. If you make a fire in the valley, then only people who are higher than you will be able to see it. But if you make it on a hilltop, you get greater visibility in greater further distance where people can actually see the fire. This is going to go down soon. But the only problem with making a fire in the Sahara Desert, even especially at night, is that there's just goddamn nobody around. You can light the biggest fire you can in the world, but if there's nobody around to see it, then what's the point?
Well, that's the end of the fire. So that was good to lasted a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and that will put out a signal in every direction for miles away. Now I'm going to get over to start hiking and rescue myself. Did a recon going up the mountain earlier, and I know which distance and I know what direction. I did a recon and went up the mountain earlier, so I know kind of essentially what direction to go in. But you need to take into account also the distances. It's hard to tell distances, especially when you're up that high. It's very hard to tell distances, especially when you're up that high. You know, and it was quite dry. Yeah, so it's very hard to tell It's very hard to tell distances when you're up that high, essentially. Partly because of the whole different viewing angle, and also you got to take into account the fact that essentially when you're out in the desert, because everything looks so familiar and repetitive, something looks a mile away, then in reality it's probably 2 miles away, and so forth. But I'm gonna just pack up my cameras now and get going. Just again, this is a infrared light. This isn't a actual torch. It literally purely only works to help this little infrared camera work better, but it messes up my other cameras. So I'm just getting ready to leave camp. I've been packing my bags, double checking that I haven't left anything. I'm going to start hiking out, and so yeah, just pack my bags. I've been kind of checking that I haven't lost anything. Just going to start hiking out now whilst the sun's down. It's gotten a lot more cooler out here. The cooler it is out here, the less energy, the less sweat, the less stress I kind of go under. But I do feel myself currently being bitten by, I think, mozzies. I haven't had any issues with them yet since, but because the weather's kind of, obviously, because now I'm having issues with mozzies. Did have issues with them last night because I was underneath a parachute and I was asleep, so you wouldn't even feel them. And now I'm awake, I do kind of notice that they are kind of biting at me. That goes to show ignorance is bliss, because I bet they were biting at me yesterday. Mozzie. They always go for your back, because the back's the one part you can't scratch. So I'm hiking out. Visibility is poor. It's weird having this kind of big bag back on, because I'm kind of sunburnt, naturally sunburnt, I guess. I'm sunburnt now. I've had worse sunburns though. The ground's very unsteady. Visibility is gone. I can't see. So I just stood on something really sharp. It's these again. So if you can focus to see those sharp balls. Let me just again, one of those sharp balls. What I will do is I'm going to use part of the parachute to mark my way out, so if anyone does go to my camping and find my camping area, they're going to have arrows to see which direction I'm heading in. You use these like an arrow shape by getting itself to double back on itself. I'm going to use rocks to keep a bit to place, so when the wind does blow, it won't blow it away. No, I think it looks pretty good. It's a pretty decent arrow shape. Pointing that way. When you're out in the wild, you don't want to ever have to rely on just one method of survival. The hell was that? I've definitely heard something scuttling around. It's fast. It's near my feet. Anyway, let's hike on. What's that noise? You know what? What's over here? It is starting to get a bit cold. I'm going to put on starting to get a bit cold. I don't want to have to waste energy trying to keep warm, so I'm going to put on my, I can't even think what the word is. This dehydration's getting to me, I can't even think. Poncho, getting bitten, getting bitten, getting bitten, getting bitten. That's better. That's so much nicer. So much nicer. Let's get the that on. Also, I did make this bandana to keep me cool during the day. It was overcast, so I didn't really need to use it to get the sun off me. The sun's not shining on you, kind of just another layer to trap heat in. Just what I'm going to use for it now. I'll use it for now. Take it back to my Jimi Hendrix looks. There we go. Fold it. Fold it again. We fold it one more time. Since the head is one of the major heat loss zones of your body, it's going to keep the heat in. Just need to rest for a second. It's a bit knackered, to be honest.
starting to get really tired. I need to start moving again soon because I'm getting tired, and if I get tired, I'm going to fall asleep. I think that's, I think that was my other camera. I think the SD card's full. I'm too tired to care about that, to be honest. Stop. I don't know what I'm going to say. Okay, so I think you turn yourself off. Oh, mate. I'll tell you this. Sitting down and doing nothing is so much nicer than walking. You can really feel the cold without this poncho over your screen. Oh, so it's not. I really should not be on the ground staying still, but I'm just so tired. I want to lie down for a bit. Just use my bag as a headrest. I need to turn off. I don't have the energy to mess around with cameras, so I'm just going to turn this one off. So it's not even recording. Let's talk. You know what? As I go, I'll be a trooper. Okay. It's kind of comforting. To see your own face on camera. God. It's not. My nose hurts. I don't want to sleep. I know. I do need to have my time walking. I need to sleep at the same time. Like, I can't do everything. I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes unless I'm in there. I thought I saw I know I don't have that far to go. In terms of distance away from where I need to go, it's not a far distance. It's probably just like a couple of miles, literally just a couple of miles. But I'm just trying to do it. I'm just trying to do it at night because it'll expend less energy and I'll be out sooner tomorrow if I start to walk at night. There's something else there. I don't know why, I'm always tempted to look at the camera even when I'm sleeping.
tell you this. I'm gonna not lip my lips. But I'll tell you this. It's not a terribly bad temperature out here tonight. Like, I'm a bit chilly, but it's not like uncomfortably chilly. Oh, but no, I don't lick my lips. It's not uncomfortably chilly. So I've just gotten up from sleeping. I did not mean to sleep that long. I just wanted to rest. It was very, very cold. I was very, very tired. Yeah, like even in this poncho, it was extremely cold to trying to sleep on the desert floor. That's why I made a choice when I woke up to get moving, because I'm gonna have to do the walking anyway, and I might as well walk when I'm cold and that get me warm, rather than walking when it's already hot during the day and that get me even hotter. Good thing to do is to walk slowly. You can't really always see where you're stepping, so you kind of want to feel the ground with kind of your toes, and it's a lot safe that way. Especially like during the day when it's really hot, walk slowly so you don't like strain yourself too hard. See, there's see. That's fine, it's fine, it's fine. False alarm. Yeah. Okay, that one felt less of a false alarm. Yeah. What we want to do as well is take the easiest path. You know, you don't want to be climbing up hills or mountains or sand dunes. What you really want to be doing is staying down low in the valleys. You know, climbing up will exert a lot more energy than kind of walking around. Even if walking around is a further distance, it's going to be a lot less energy than it'll take to climb up the mountain. Or like sand dune in this case. Now it's called kind of similar things. It's better like zigzag in and out rather than going straight line up and down, up and down, up and down. So let's keep walking. In any survival situation, it's very important to kind of mark your trail. You know, if you leave your camp, you're going to want to mark some kind of arrows or some signs or some notes about where you're going. Essentially, like if someone just stumbled across your camp, they'll have no clue where you are unless you leave signs. So if you continually make arrows, you do it from rocks. I'm making this one from parachute because this is what I've got on hand. And then you just put some rocks in it to make it neater, make it more defined. And there you go. You can let anybody know, any rescuers, what location you're going to. I'm heading that way. What I found. bear in mind I cannot see this bug at all. I can only see it through my night vision camera. Just made a nice little find. Found a bug using my night vision camera. There you go. It's very hard to see. Like extremely hard to see. There we go. I can only see it through the night vision. Oh. Without night vision, I would not have been able to have seen that. That was incredibly hard to see, but I managed to just about. Like, I can't see it right now. Like, you can see it with night vision. I can't see it. I know where it is, but I can't see it. Like, I know where it is, but I just can't see it. So I'm relying purely on a night vision camera to do anything with this. I can't even see what type of bug it is. I can't see it at all. Like, I'm using the camera to guide where my stone is, but I'm nowhere near it. Huh. It's a weird one that you've killed an insect to eat, like a beetle of some sort, but you can't. You can see it on camera, but you can't see it. Did I get it? There we go. You can see it still moving. I can imagine this is going to taste absolute putrid. It's still moving. Alright. Oh. 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 Mmm. Mm. 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 Ah. Ah. Ah.
That is the grossest thing I've ever eaten. Oh god. Oh. Ah. Oh god. Ah. 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 Most of it went down inside me. The last bits with the shell. Ah. I mustn't be sick. If I'm sick, you lose any water content in your stomach. Most of it went down, but my god, some of it came back out. Oh my god. My gag reflex has never fought so hard. Oh god. The thing is, whilst the shell is hard and dry, the insides are pure mush. Which is good in this situation because that's a lot of liquid. That's a lot of liquid, but it's the worst way to get it. Oh god, that's a big one. I need to make my way out. I can't be doing any more of those. I cannot be doing any more of those. Oh my god, I so badly wanted to be sick. That was absolutely sickly. Never have I tasted anything so bad. Okay. Let's man up, let's move on. That's quite a good saying. Let's man up, let's move on, let's go. I don't have to say let's go. Let's man up, let's move on. It's a great saying. It stands by itself. Man up, move on. Alliteration. Done. Ooh.
Oh. That was hard to eat. That was very hard to eat. Ah. Ugh. 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 That very much had a very barbecue-like aftertaste now. It tastes like barbecue crisps. Let's keep it going.